Well, we got what has to be the most perfect corruption story out of the White House yet. A longtime Donald Trump aide, the guy who has run his teleprompter since 2016, a guy named Gabriel Perez, is believed to have made about $100,000 on the prediction market platform Kalshi by betting on what Trump will say in his scheduled speeches, including his State of the Union address in February. According to ABC News, which broke the story, quote, Kalshi alerted its regulator to the suspicious activity on its mentions market, where users can bet on whether specific words, phrases, or topics are uttered during a public speech. The White House basically confirmed the story in today's press briefing.
Obviously, I'm aware of the report. The president is too. I spoke with him about it. He believes it's deeply unfortunate and, frankly, a disgrace. And the individual that was cited in that report is complying with the CFTC, but has been put on paid administrative leave. So there will be a teleprompter operator tonight, of course, but it will not be the one, unfortunately, in that story.
Well, it's pretty rich. They find this one so deeply unfortunate, frankly, a disgrace, when it's completely emblematic of the most corrupt administration ever hold the White House, where we've seen everything from $100,000 for the teleprompter guy to billion-dollar crypto schemes to the millions going to the no-bid contract to fail at renovating the reflecting pool. The Trump regime is rife with corruption, big and small. David Fahrenthold's an investigative reporter at the New York Times who reported this week on an FBI evidence team visiting the reflecting pool, and he joins me now. I was thinking of the prompter story today as somehow in the perfectly same category as a reflecting pool, which is like small and colorful enough to completely get your arms around. So I want to start just with the contract part of it before we get to the FBI, because you've been doing some reporting on that, like how this company got the contract, and they now apparently are going to get more money to fix the thing that it certainly appears they screwed up in the first place.
Yeah, the Trump administration gave out 2 no-bid contracts to work in the reflecting pool. One was to add a water purification system, but the bigger one, more than $14 million, was to this company, Atlantic Industrial Coatings. President Trump originally said they were his pool guys, but then later turned around and said he didn't know them at all. This company to put this sort of waterproofing coating down in the reflecting pool. Trump said it would last for 50 years. The Park Service thought it would last for 5 or 6 years. It really lasted a couple of weeks or less. By the middle of June, you could already see sections of it pulling up and floating in the pool. President Trump has said it was caused by vandals or something like that, but it appears that just there were problems in this application that they had been paid millions of dollars to do. Now we don't really know how long it's going to take to fix it, how much they're going to be paid, if anything, or even the extent of the damage.
The president has insisted this is the work of vandals, and the tale has grown more embroidered every time he brings it up. It was 100 yards, 150, 300. The most recent was that the vandals' slashes were 300 yards long, and floor of the pool was cut and then pulled upward with great force by these thugs. You report, the National Park Service report described cuts in a different part of the pool, a strip of gray caulking around the pool's edge, which is very different. It did not mention the damage to the blue lining that covers its broad floor, though the Interior Department said later the blue section was disturbed. It does seem Occam's razor here is that it wasn't affixed properly and just came up, right? Isn't that a fair assessment of the evidence so far?
That's all the evidence we've seen points to that. You can see in internal Park Service documents, after a few days, they say, look, it's starting to pull up. It's easy to pull off. A little bit of force starts it going. There's nothing in those internal documents saying, oh, this was the work of evil vandals. Now, there have been some people charged with pulling up pieces of the pool, but that was days later after everybody had seen that it was already peeled.
Yes. So what the heck is the FBI doing out there gathering evidence, I guess, is my next question.
Probably wishing, thinking that they went to school for this, right? And saying how they can't imagine that they're there. So they're helping the park police investigate what President Trump has said, that this is a 350-foot gash in the pool and people pulled it up. So they were out there yesterday with basically 3D scanning equipment, like you might use in a crime scene to get a 3D model of a crime scene. But this crime scene is 2,000 feet long and 167 feet wide. So you can see them out there taking measurements, sort of surveying the scene like they're going to treat it like a crime scene. The odd thing about it is the pool is still really dirty. It's full of detritus from the fireworks show on July 4th. It's got all kinds of grime in it. So any damage to the pool is now buried under this layer of grime. I don't really know what they're getting in these surveys.
So, okay, so let's assess here. So the same company is now going to fix this. The bottom has turned gray, is no longer American flag blue. The FBI is out there with some sort of 3D rendering techniques to investigate a supposed master villain who has cut a 300-yard bottom in it. And it's still not fixed and now drained and sitting in the summer heat, dry and dirty.
Yeah, remember the whole reason that they said they needed to do these no-bid contracts and needed to rush this out, they couldn't look to see if anybody else could do the job better and more cheaply, was it had to be done by July 4th. Absolutely had to be ready for the Independence Day celebrations. And because it was done apparently so badly, instead of being ready, it had to be fenced off, the public kept away, and now it's dry. So it would have been better to just, power wash it once and let it, and then refill it than do what they've done. It would have cost a lot less.
Is there a way that are we ever going to get to the bottom of how this contract came about? Because at first I was like, oh, he if there's a single person in the world, I think, who has a pool guy, it's probably Trump. But then it turned out not to be his pool guy. So I don't actually understand how these people got it.
It is baffling. We're going to get to the bottom of it, Chris, but that's really important. President Trump came out and said on several occasions, he actually made a YouTube video from the Resolute desk in the White House where he said, I found these people. These are my pool guys. They fixed a pool in my golf club in Northern Virginia, and I found them and I talked to them. And they gave the same account in several situations. None of that seems to be true. He doesn't know these people. They don't do pools. They're not his pool guy. They're not anyone's pool guy. So I don't know if he just made it up or someone told him this has happened. But he was relating this as something that he had personally done. And now he says that none of that was true. So I think that there was somebody named David Schutzenhofer, the general manager of Trump's golf club in Bedminster, seems to have played a role in choosing how all this happened. How he knows these people and how he got put in charge of that, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, we will await that with bated breath. And I have faith if anyone can get to the bottom of this, it is you, David Fahrenthold. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.